83% of photographers are already using AI in their workflow. And while this number might surprise you, what VSCO found underneath it is even more interesting. AI is not necessarily replacing creativity, it's helping people protect it. For CMOs building platforms or products that serve creative audiences, the AI conversation is no longer theoretical. It's about how you integrate it in a way that deepens trust with your community rather than fracturing it. I'm Brianna Lawler, and this is the CMO Club podcast.
Hi, I'm Eric Wittman. I'm the CEO of VSCO. I've had the ultimate pleasure of being able to build a lot of software over the last 30 years for a lot of different companies. So companies like Macromedia way back in the day, and Adobe, Atlassian, Figma, and now, of course, VSCO. And I think what I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to do is, really stay close to the creative community for a long time.
What a gift.
And I've seen the evolution of that community. And what I'm doing now at VSCO is basically helping build that next generation platform for photographers and creators so that they ultimately can be successful with whatever they're trying to do.
Incredible space to be in.
Yes.
There's just one challenge. The one thing that's threatening to take away creatives' reason for being and their work is also the one thing that you're trying to you make native as part of your platform.
Yeah.
How do you navigate sort of the reckoning that's happening with AI as far as how creatives use it to balance what they need to produce, but also maintain that authenticity in what they show?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the AI conversation is obviously an interesting one, and it's one that we have been spending a lot more time trying to deeply study because, like any sort of big platform changes, we saw this when digital photography first came on the scene with film photography, right? You had all these film photographers were freaked out that photography was going to go away. When in fact, it didn't go away. In fact, photography got bigger. And there were actually more opportunities that got created.
Yeah.
And yes, there were some types of roles. If you were in the film processing lab or you were making chemicals for film photography, okay, those roles went away or got diminished severely. But new opportunities got created and ended up being a bigger thing. And I think with AI, a lot of the emotion is really around generative AI.
True.
But that's really only a piece of AI. AI also hits other aspects where it can affect more of the mundane tasks of what people are actually faced with, whether it's things like, hey, I'm just doing some ideation and mood boarding. Like maybe I want to use AI to help with that.
Yeah.
Not the end work for the client. Like I'm still shooting, or I'm still editing and creating videos and getting it out there.
Yeah.
Or some of the mundane business tasks like, hey, I want to write a really effective pitch on how to go after a brand I really want to work with. So AI can actually help you construct what that pitch might look like. So we actually found in some of the research that we've done, some independent research outside of the VSCO community, is that, we've got over 80+% of photographers today are using some type of AI tooling.
I read that.
So it's actually fascinating. Like in reality, yes, there's all this crazy noise about AI and how it's going to take people's jobs potentially. But also when you actually talk to people like photographers, especially pro photographers, they're using it a ton right now. And so from VSCO's perspective, we are a company that has always stayed very close to our community. For 15 years, since our founding days. And our founders were photographers, were creative directors who are trying to give back to that next generation of them. And this is what we're still doing today, right? We stay very close to this community. So we try to really understand where are the fears and where is the reality. And so when we're building things for them, in some cases leveraging AI technology, we're trying to maintain the creator first and foremost. And then also maintain the authenticity of what they are creating. In fact, some of the AI tools that we've actually come out with, we actually have patents that are pending around this notion of preserving authenticity of the media itself. So we've figured out a way to sort of blend the two worlds in a way that actually makes sense from a photographer and from a creator perspective. So again, ethos has always been, human-centered and AI can assist, but in the ways that I think are most painful for a lot of photographers, not replacing them.
No, because there's so much that goes into the work of being a photographer to being a creative. There's a lot of mundane tasks, as you mentioned. I heard you in the talk earlier talk about workflows.
Yes.
Right? Because it's all fine and wonderful to take photos, but then you get into editing them and you're spending way too much time on things that aren't actually giving you a whole lot of ROI. So, are you balancing that in such a way that people still have their stamp of authenticity and yet they're able to speed up what they're able to output?
Yes.
And what does that look like? How are you kind of getting feedback from your audience to make that so it still feels like the right tool for them?
Yeah, so there's the creative tooling aspect and there's the aspect of the business side. And for us, let's take the business side, for example. So one of the things that is very painful for photographers is being able to get out there, market themselves so they can find and attract clients.
Right.
And they've been wrestling with the algorithm for a long time. And now I think people are just fed up. They feel like they're not getting discovered on these platforms anymore. And so
That they used to once own. Like in theory, you
Yes.
owned your following. You don't actually, but
Exactly
people
right.
that way.
Right. I mean, this is, one of the things that people talk about, like the difference between a VSCO, and VSCO is a community platform. We're
Yeah.
not trying to be social media, to be very clear. But, it's nice that people can follow someone on VSCO
Yeah.
and you get to see the chronological order of the feed. And I actually get to see the people's content,
Yeah.
who I'm following, and it's not lost in the ether. But when it comes to finding work, Instagram was one of these places that people found a lot of work from.
Completely.
Which is great, but that has also gotten lost a bit. So you're seeing more and more people kind of getting out of Instagram and doing things like creating their own portfolio websites again.
Right.
And these portfolio websites are really valuable ways in which people can get discovered
Right.
and attract and find the right types of clients.
Yeah.
But most of these creators and photographers, like, they're solopreneurs.
Yeah.
And I know you were doing this in the early days too. Like, hey, I'm an independent, I'm a small business, I'm really just trying to make it. So how do I make it not only easier for people to find me, but then once someone comes to my website and says, oh yeah, your work is stunning, I want to be able to work with you.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to respond right away, because also these prospective clients are very impatient.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so how can you automate that, right? So instead of hoping and that you're going to respond in a timely way,
Yeah.
or constantly being checking your phone, like, I got to respond to this person right away. It's like, automate all that. Those are the types of things that we're also working on. And it's not traditional how people think of VSCO. Most people, when they think of VSCO, they think of creative tools. Or in some cases, like alt social media, right? It's a safe place. I can go be creative. I can express myself and not get judged or trolled. Still a great place for creatives, which is why we have such a big creative audience of tens of millions of people who are on it every month.
Yes.
But, again, I go back to, like, how can we help them find work?
Yes.
How can we help them manage their business once they find work? This is really an expansion of our remit that we've just started to do over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think it's what's resonating strongest right now with our community.
Well, it makes sense, because a photographer will think, you hear me, you see the struggles that I have. Like, yes, I love this, but then I also have to do these tertiary things that are part of my job that I, as a creative, maybe I'm not that good at, but you can help me. So then there's this mutual reciprocity that you're establishing as a result. And I imagine you're creating these longer term relationships.
One interesting insight. So when I first came into VSCO 5 years ago, I was talking to all these different people who had been using VSCO for a long time,
Right.
but then they stopped for some reason, or they were just casually using it. And I reached out to them and I talked to them and I said, what happened? A lot of them would say, I graduated from VSCO. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Well, a lot of people, our base is it's a younger base. So 72% of the people on VSCO are between the ages of 18 and 34. And it's great. So we're getting people very early on in their creative journey, and they get more and more, they build their skills up on VSCO, they get more and more intentional. But then when they were saying they were graduating, they were saying, look, there are certain things that VSCO doesn't offer that I need. Maybe it's something as simple as, like, I need desktop editing tools.
Sure.
Or maybe I need a portfolio website now and I don't have that from VSCO. Or I need tools to help manage my business.
Yeah.
These are all things that I said, wow, what a shame for a business like VSCO. We're not just following them along in their journey and giving them that next building block. And so over the last couple of years, we've been very intentional about that. So it's not just about mobile editing anymore. We do have desktop editing tools.
Yeah.
It's not, you can take your work that you've already posted on VSCO and in like 30 seconds create a portfolio website that gets indexed by Google that you can attract clients around.
Right.
So these are all the types of things that we've really been intentional in building. So no longer are people graduating from VSCO. They're actually continuing their journey on VSCO and being successful.
It's what you need as a business that is destined to evolve. You want to evolve in this direction.
100%. Yeah.
And you've already got your target audience. You understand them, but you now understand them on a deeper level.
Yes.
And the challenges that they face, and you're serving them. So how were you successful in finding out what your audience needs? Because this is a common challenge for brands, for organizations. They think they know their customer. They think they know their end user, and maybe they don't anymore. They've graduated or they've evolved. So what have you found has served you well in sort of surveying your audience and getting these insights on a regular basis so you can continue to improve the product?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I hold myself accountable.
Sure.
As a leader, I need to be out there. I need to be talking to people.
Right.
And while it probably bothers our internal teams a fair bit that I'm out on Reddit or out on Threads, I'm out there having conversations with people and inquiring and trying to get that direct feedback and
Right.
encouraging that. So first and foremost, I need to be out there
Yeah.
as well. As someone who's really setting the vision and strategy for the company, I need to spend time with those customers, those aspiring professionals
Right.
or even professionals who maybe had graduated in the past. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. The second thing is, we have a platform that has tens of millions of people on it all the time.
Yep.
There's a lot of data that we can take a look at. And so one of the things that we had to do is rebuild our entire data platform.
I bet.
And so now we get a lot more insights from different segments of users on the platform. So instead of just looking at one giant blob of people and how they're using things, it's like, okay, here's a group of people who are actively editing, they're actively participating in communities on VSCO.
Right.
Okay, they have more intentionality.
Yeah.
Let's now go look at them. Let's go talk to them and understand how they're using the product, or maybe where they're sort of using out on opportunities in the product. And I think the last thing is we do have someone who's responsible for research.
Sure.
So the same person who, Anjali, who drove our that recent AI research and other UXR work that we do. And we constantly have all these research projects that are spun up where we're actively interviewing. So it starts with leadership.
Yes.
It's quant data and it's qual data.
Yeah.
All of those are really important right now.
Do you feel like it's a luxury to be able to connect to your customer one-to-one? Because you're at C-suite, you're CEO of VSCO. Why are you having these conversations? And also, why wouldn't you have these conversations, right?
That's my question.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? If you're running a company, any type of company, I mean, we're, more of a product company, right?
Sure.
Or a tech company, but any company out there, why wouldn't you want to spend time with your customers? And sometimes I think there's a little bit of fear, like if I put myself out there,
Right.
well, I won't mention the competitor, but a very large competitor of ours, one of the execs there said, I'm jealous of you, Eric. And I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're out there, you're talking to people all the time and you're doing so in public, and, you're not afraid of saying the wrong thing. And I think that's again, like, partly it's a little bit of my personality. I have no problems getting out there. I'm clearly not an introvert, but I just think it's important. It's so critical in being able to run your business. It's how I get my energy. It's how our business gets the insights that we need in order to create a successful platform so that the people that we're serving can win. And if they win, then we win.
Totally. And you get more of them, and you're reducing these points of friction too. Because people don't want to go between 16 different tools. They want a handful of them that serve a multitude of things that they need in their day-to-day.
Exactly.
So these
The
conversations,
fragmented world.
it is. So these conversations you're having, they're non-negotiable for you, because then you've got your finger on the pulse of what people need and how you can serve them.
Totally agree.
I do want to talk about competitors a little bit, because you're obviously staying ahead just by nature of talking to your own client base. But how do you feel, with AI embedding itself so firmly in our culture, what would you recommend to other leaders, whether they're competitors of yours or not, in how they can kind of stay ahead of it, to not get bogged down by all of the noise, and instead try to stay at the forefront of what they know to be true, and how they can best serve their audience?
Yeah. I think for me, it gets back to, like, first of all, getting your hands dirty. Spend the time with these tools yourself and just understanding and experimenting. And it's hard because these are very new tools. In some cases, there aren't established patterns. So you're having to break from your old habits that you might have had. And so that's one thing that I try to do a fair bit about, which is like experiment. Like, just try. I know I'm going to fail, and that's okay. And be comfortable with that, because right now in this moment, so many other people are also just learning. And this is also where I think it's something like I do talk a lot to a lot of my peers that are out there, and even our executive team. Like, we have a lot of conversations about experimenting with these tools and what were some of the failures, if you will, or what I like to call learnings. Right? Not failures. These are learnings. It's like you're building up that scar tissue, because in this moment, we're all going through this together. There are no right answers yet. We're all still learning. And so it's being comfortable in this time that we're living in. We're like, there's going to be a lot of learnings. It's going to be a lot of scar tissue that's built up, but that's okay. Like, go out, learn, talk about it, experiment a lot. I remember I went to, I think it was an Amazon Web Services summit a couple of years back. And I was talking to one leader who was very, very much like the bleeding edge of AI. And he said, Eric, one of the things that you need to do is get comfortable with, on an annual basis, almost tearing everything down and then rebuilding it back up again.
Whoa.
Because these tools are evolving so quickly. And these patterns are evolving very quickly as well. You see this a lot with AI tool adoption in the software development space. Right? The tooling that people were using even 18 months ago It's fundamentally different from what's happening today.
Yeah.
And you're going to see this across all these different functions. Marketing, you're going to see this, finance, you can see this in HR, across every discipline.
Yeah.
These are these moments of like learning, trying new things, building up, tearing it down again, rebuilding it back up. And there's a cost to that.
Yeah.
And every leader in every organization needs to sort of understand, where do they fit on that spectrum of adoption?
Right.
Do they want to be on the bleeding edge? Okay, great. Like, what do you need to do to make that happen?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be more on the maybe early majority, late majority of adoption? Okay, just be intentional, be thoughtful about that.
And it seems that those that know their customer, their end user really well, can play that right, because there is kind of a balance. Like, you can choose between being experimental, being speedy, or prioritizing preserving quality.
Yes.
And it seems like VSCO's doing all three, but if you had to pick one theme for the rest of this year, what would it be?
Ooh, the paradox of choice.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to just kind of gravitate back to, really being close to our community. And it's like, where are they at?
Yes.
And what do they need? And also, where do we need to push them a little bit as well? So there's a little bit of this like give and take in like, okay, you can tell us what you need, but sometimes it might just be, again, the old adage of the faster horse, right? When in fact, actually what you need is really this new thing. And so the beauty of the moment that we're in when it comes to developing product is that you can test these ideas out way faster than ever before. And these aren't just mock-ups and designs. I mean, we're building some new products right now.
Yeah.
And our product team has a Slack channel with these early design partners. And they are just throwing new builds at them almost every day.
Yeah.
Try this. What do you think about that? And things are changing in real time. And it's very exciting for both of us.
Absolutely.
Because these photographers, like, they get what they need, which is like what feels to them like a custom product.
Absolutely.
Their input is being heard.
Yeah.
We're responding. They're getting that feedback. We have much stronger signal to noise ratio on like getting the right product out into the market and not spending all this time and energy and delivering something to the market that no one wants.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The timelines are compressed now.
very much so.
So as long as you have those insights, you're going to be okay.
Yes.
So a lot of this is kind of like, in order to not get bogged down by all the information out there, would you say look within? That's kind of the sweet spot?
I think so. I think this is that's a truism from my standpoint. Yes. I think you're also, going to take a hard look from within, but your existing talent.
Yeah.
Right? I think this is where, tough choices might need to be made, right? You might have to bring in entirely fresh, new thinking in order to rise up to the moment that we're in right now.
Right.
In some cases, it's going to be, these people that you already have who are very curious and they want to try new things. Okay, give them the latitude to do that.
Yeah.
And don't expect perfection.
Yeah.
Like, again, back to learnings and scar tissue.
Yeah.
You're going to get some of that. So just give people the latitude to figure that stuff out.
I love that. It's such a good sentiment, because as a leader, you're not meant to know everything. You're just meant to be a guide. And if you can listen and be perceptive and be willing to hear those insights, you're going to go further than you would if you just thought you had all the answers.
Totally agree. Agree with that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for making the time. Yeah, this is awesome.
Nice to meet you too.
So exciting too to see the development of the brand and the shape shift that's happening.
It's fun. It's like the next chapter of VSCO is happening right now, and we're building it in real time with our community.
Yeah.
And look, I think there's been no greater time to build like just anything, and with this audience and people. I love it. I have a dream job.
Yeah.
I sound my geeky guy in what I do.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled. You're perfectly suited for it, and it's been such a pleasure to connect too.
Thank you.
Yeah.